everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Believe in Colts podcast.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, are my guys Jerraud Powers, Rodney McLeod, and today, it's Super Bowl week, right? The Pro Bowl and the games and stuff are now officially over. We might get into a little bit of conversation about some news that happened this past weekend. Definitely going to be talking about the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, but I just want to catch up with everybody. How's everybody's week been going? Did you get to watch any of the Pro Bowl games or what's going on, Jerraud?
I had a good week. I mean, I watched little bits and pieces, but I didn't sit down and just fully watch the Pro Bowl. But I saw it was a little different, so it seemed like it was entertaining. It seemed like it was fun.
Yeah, Rodney.
Yeah, week's off to a good start. Excited to get away out of the country tomorrow, so that'll be fun. And yeah, I kind of had the Pro Bowl games on just in the background. Thought it was just curious enough to watch. As seeing that it's something new that the league's put on, and just wanted to get a feel and see how it looked. But it was all right. I guess it's fitting to where the league is now. It's a passing league, quarterback, skill positions, love it. But yeah, we'll be interested to see whether it sticks around next year and what fans thought of it, more importantly.
Yeah, there was a little bit of shocking, at least to me, it was shocking when Derek Carr was interviewed on the field and he talked about, how he, will be on a different team next year, just like pretty much made it, factual rather than just, everybody out here just assuming that it will. Did that catch anyone by surprise the way he said that?
I want to say it was a little surprising, but I think it kind of showed his personality a little bit, that he was trying to make joke of a situation, or trying to, I guess lighten the mood a little bit, because if you go back to how it ended, or how he was replaced, it was, him, leaving the team, not being around for the last game or so. So it was kind of a negative feel for Derek Carr on how things ended the season. So to see him in a spotlight on a big platform, joke about it, as part of the business, it seems like he's mentally ready for some new challenges and ready to go to a new team. So it was kind of good to see that he was in good spirits about it.
Yeah, I like the fact, I guess, that he moved any Gray involved, right, in that in that conversation. And typically, what happens is, over the course of the next 2 months or a month, really, you would start to hear a lot of chatter about what's the direction of Derek Carr. And he's answered that question, I think, for everyone, and understands his direction moving forward. So I think, to Jerraud's point, is good when you can just clear the air. You can mentally prepare and understand, that for a fact, like, you won't be with your previous team, but it allows him to be able to just focus on what's next, and both sides, right? Like the Raiders included.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, being able to, like you said, remove the gray area was a big positive. It allows fans to kind of, move on a little bit, even though, if they are, obviously Carr's been with the Raiders for a very long time. And if you're a Raiders fan, you're kind of on the edge of your seat, so to be able to give them a little bit of a heads up is a good thing, from a fan standpoint, from a player to a fan. Right. But first, I want to remind everyone that BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. Other news that happened this past weekend, apparently the Indianapolis Colts are blocking lateral interviews for defensive coordinator Gus Bradley. Apparently, there are multiple, like over half of the head coaching candidates for the Indianapolis Colts are, actually want Gus Bradley or are okay with Gus Bradley staying on as the defensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts this upcoming season. That's kind of new for Gus, being, he's been with, different teams the past couple years, has to make a lot of moves. It looks like Indy wants to keep him around, and it looks, and Gus has already stated that he'd love to stick around if that opportunity presents itself. What does that state in your mind with the situation that's going on with the head coaching search and possibly Gus staying? Is that a positive thing, Jerraud?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a positive for Gus. I mean, that means that, everybody was kind of pleased with the job that he brought to the table, the job that he done with our defense. I mean, our defense played lights out for, 95% of the season. I mean, towards the end of the season, we wore out a little bit, had a couple games that was uncharacteristic like for us, but for the most part, defense held their end of the stick, the entire year. And I think he's kind of getting rewarded, or he's kind of being viewed around the league as a guy that can still get it done as a DC, a guy that has a great scheme, a guy that has a great personality to fit the locker room, a guy that the guys in the locker room believe in and the guys in the building believe in at the moment. And I mean, it just shows you everybody they brought in, if they're okay with Gus being the DC going forward, that means he's done a good job since he's been in Indy. And I think it works out for both sides, because before the search even started, like you said, Gus has stated that he would love, to continue his career in Indy and stick around. So to at least have some of the pieces still intact, even though you're going to have a new coaching change and new staff change, it gives you some type of relief that will have some familiar error. I can't even say that word because of my tongue tied. But it'll give us some type of relief to have some familiar people still in the building that guys can relate to and know and have a working relationship with, rather than everybody coming in being someone new of staff.
Absolutely. Now, I've made a lot of assumptions over this past month since the Indianapolis Colts season has ended, Rodney. And my thought process was, if Gus Bradley sticks around for the next season, that helps with the idea of maybe keeping some of the players around as well, that they might not want to move on. Rodney, is there any truth to that, or I'm just curious about your thoughts on that situation.
Yeah, I think there is truth to certain guys sticking around, and I think the benefit is when you have your coordinator coming back for potentially a second season, is the chemistry and also familiarity within the scheme and comfortability throughout the entire defense. And so I think, when you think about why, the Colts are potentially making the decision to keep, Gus Bradley is of course the job that he did last year. We understand where we ranked and how, we played a very good stretch of football for, majority of the season. As Jerraud pointed out, a few games down the stretch got away from us. But overall, I think you walk away with that season and kind of respecting the job that Gus Bradley did with us as a defense. And that's an impression that he's left on everybody in that building. And for a fact that they've had conversations with several people, whether it's front office, other coaches, and maybe even players, about the job that he did. What do they think about him being a part of the future for the team in this new direction? And so I think you have to consider a lot of, core guys sticking around when you factor in bringing back Gus Bradley. And so it'll be interesting to see how everything plays out. But I think if you're Gus and the rest of that staff, then, that is a positive note coming out of the Colts organization right now, and that they feel strongly about keeping potentially Gus on as the DC.
And with Gus staying on, let's say if he stays on, does that mean the majority of his staff will probably stick around as well, like most of his assistants and position coaches and things of that nature?
I would say normally that tends to happen there, just like anything else, man. There is no guarantee in the league, and that extends all the way from players up to the front office that people will be around. So you just have to wait and see. I would believe that mass majority of the core guys will probably be there, but at the same time, the new head coach, I'm sure, will have some say in who's a part of the staff as a whole.
And everybody gets evaluated as coaches. So I'm pretty sure Gus evaluated every assistant coach on that defensive side of the ball. And, if he feels like, there needs to be a change in any area of the defense, I mean, just as a professional businessman, I mean, you're going to make those changes as well. So like Rodney said, it's just no guarantee when it comes to staff, players from year to year. But I would say the majority of the defense assistants would stick around if Gus is there. But it wouldn't shock me to see a couple changes.
Okay. There's a few guys that we're all obviously interested in as Colts fans. The former players, obviously, that has came back and become assistants like Cato and Mike and guys like that over there on the defense. So I'm curious if Gus stays, how many of the other assistants and position coaches and things of that nature stick around as well. Let's move on to the Super Bowl, guys. It's this week. The official end of the NFL happens in 6 days. I mean, my goodness, it is the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. What are you most looking forward to, Jerraud, in the upcoming Super Bowl?
I mean, me being a defensive guy, I'm just looking at I can't wait to see how these defenses are going to attack, these offenses and stop what they do best. Obviously Philly does a lot of things to where some RPOs for Jalen Hurts and some QB design runs from Jalen, but at the end of the day, Philly is a physical football team when it comes from on the offensive side of the ball. So I'm going to be eager to see how Kansas City can match that physicality. And then vice versa, Philly's defense has been just lights out all year. Great secondary guys that can match up well on the outside with wide receivers. So I'm kind of eager to see how Philly's defense is going to slow down Kelsey and slow down some of these wide receiver targets that they got, because they do match up well with Kansas City's offense. So I'm going to be eager, just to see the excitement of the defense and how they're going to attack these offenses.
Okay. Rodney?
Yeah, for myself, I think you really look at the Chiefs defense, and that defense you have to circle and figure out whether or not they can truly stop the Eagles offense. I'm particularly looking at the matchups outside, at the cornerback position, having two young corners, but then having two dynamic receivers like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. How will the Chiefs secondary respond? And they had a great matchup, a week ago, probably facing the best, or a couple weeks ago, facing the best trio in the league, and Boyd, Chase, and Higgins. And I felt like they did a great job, but there still were times where they gave up big plays. And we know Philly has really thrived off of explosive plays, particularly when it comes to those two individuals that I talked about. So that'll be interesting to see. I surprisingly enough, I feel like the Chiefs will stop, be more effective than we think in the run game versus the Eagles offense. They've been playing a lot physical than they have in the past years. I think I've always looked at the Chiefs defense as a bend but don't break, with Mahomes on the other side. But lately they've been coming up big, in moments where they had to stand up, get stops, turnovers, whatever is asked of them, they've been able to do. And so then you talk about the other side of the ball with the Eagles defense going against, Mahomes. And, I'm really interested in seeing the linebackers versus Kelsey matchup. Jerraud knows with a lot of too high that the Eagles might play. That will be the difference maker. Can Kazir White and TJ Edwards, really hold up Kelsey? That's where he lives. in that 10-yard or less, window.
Intermediate range. Yep.
Yeah. So it'll be real interesting to see, how the Eagles defense contains Kelsey, knowing that that's their style of defense. And then I think you just got to look at, man, the D line. Are they able to get after Mahomes in the way that they've done every quarterback, they face this year? But, the Eagles haven't played a good quarterback in some time. So it'll be interesting to see. There's a lot of key matchups going around, man. You got the Andy Reid offensive guru, Jonathan Gannon, what he's done this year. So, we got a lot to look forward to, and it's going to be a good game.
I think the Eagles have a very, when it comes to just general NFL fans, I think they have a very underrated running back on their team, Miles Sanders, who for a career has averaged 5 yards a carry. This past season, he busted over 1,200 yards rushing and 11 touchdowns. Could you give us a little bit of personal thoughts about Miles Sanders and through the time that you've been with him over on the Eagles?
Yeah, Miles, man, is a very talented running back, as we all see. But what we don't see is his work ethic, and I think that was started his rookie year, really ingrained by Deuce Staley. And I think he's really made that who he is. He would take a run, a simple 15-yard carry and go to the end zone with it. And that's his demeanor that he's always showed. And like I said, the work ethic, the grind. And it's been unfortunate for him because he's always had productive seasons. His biggest thing has been his health. And this year you've seen him stay healthy and be available for his team. And when he's available, he's probably one of the best to do it, not only running the ball, but he's very effective out, and catching the ball out the backfield as well. And they do a good job at making sure all those guys get touches in their own way and keeping them all fresh. And I think they found a good cadence. And you see the selflessness out of all of them, right? Like you get down, Miles might break a 20-yard run, to set them up, in territory. And next thing you know, here comes Boston Scott or here comes Gainwell. But you never see them, you always see them celebrating. And that's the connection that all of them have, that, that brotherhood and the fact that it's not about me, it's about we.
Okay. Jerraud, the Kansas City Chiefs, as we talked about, have become a more physical team with the loss of Tyreek Hill and the new additions on the team this past season. I'm just curious, who's a guy that you feel like needs to step up in this game in order for the Kansas City Chiefs to defeat the Eagles?
I think it's going to have to be JuJu. When you go into these games like this, Rodney will tell you, your defensive coordinator is going to try to take away what you do best. And when it comes to the passing game, all eyes is going to be on Kelsey everywhere he goes. They're going to make Kelsey's life as miserable as they can make it. And I'm not saying that Kelsey is still not going to be able to get off, because every game Kelsey plays, he knows that the focus is on him anyway. So it was not going to be anything new to Kelsey. But when you're playing a good defense like Philly, you don't see good defenses letting the offense best player beat them. So they're going to make somebody else have to win some matchups. And when it comes on that outside and you got Slay and Bradbury that can lock up and match up with anybody, I feel like somebody's going to have to step up big and become a force in the wide receiver room. And that's why you bring a guy like JuJu over, somebody that's got experience, somebody that's had success in the league with Philly, and played in some big time games, big time moments. And this would be his opportunity to kind of showcase that. And hopefully he can win some of his matchups versus two elite corners.
Absolutely. I think he's definitely a guy as well. And obviously you got to keep your eye on I think some of your speedsters over there on Kansas City, I think also should probably, because Philly's very good at not allowing, the big shots downfield. Yeah. So, these guys, some of your speedsters like McColl and all of them, they need MVS. I feel like they need to kind of step up a little bit as well. Flip side there, Rodney, the Eagles, who needs to step up over there on the Eagles for them to have a chance in this upcoming Super Bowl?
Man, that's a very good question. And I think You probably had to point to Goddard. I think it's a good time for him to come alive, and not saying that he hasn't done that this year. I just think the attention, to Jerraud's point, might more so be on, of course, the run game and Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders, and then the connection of AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. But who do you kind of you naturally forget about, and that's Gotti, who's been a red zone target, a guy that Jalen really relies on when he was healthy this year. And so I'm expecting Gotti to show up and be available, man, and kind of take over that intermediate game, be a part of the RPO action that Jerraud talked about earlier that the Eagles love to do. And just his overall effectiveness underneath, yards after the catch. I think he's going to be a weapon that they're going to have to rely on in this game.
Yeah, he's missed 5 games this year due to injury. So, I don't think that, even though NFL fans might kind of have forgotten a little bit about Dallas, there's no question. If you watched the NFC Championship game, I don't think Kansas City is going to overlook that man. He's definitely
a baller.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's go ahead and get into our predictions for the Super Bowl. Just curious, Jerraud, who you got winning and why? Who's got here?
I'm gonna stick with the Chiefs. That was my preseason I guess pick kind of to get there and get back, but I'm gonna go with the Chiefs in a close game, maybe like 28-24, somewhere around there. I think it's going to be a very tight game, close game, but I think Pat Mahomes puts on one of his heroic type shows and have another great game to add to the legacy that he's already had. And I think the Chiefs overcome some adversity early in this game and just find a way to win like they've done all year.
All right. Rodney?
Oh, man.
Yeah, you're on the spot. You live in Philly now, Rodney. Don't say the wrong
thing. No, but I truly think Philadelphia is going to win this game. It seems as if it's their season. It's their year. Everything that's gone on, the performance of literally everybody on that team, how they've been so dominant throughout the course of the year has been impressive to watch. And I think, they're hungry and they're determined to not only, get to the Super Bowl, but finish this thing out the right way. And so I feel strongly about the mentality of this Eagles team and the fact that they're going to get it done on Sunday. And so I probably would say 31-28. It's going to be a close one. A lot of people feel as though, the Eagles are going to blow the Chiefs out. I don't see that happening, but I see it probably coming down to a Jake Elliott field goal at some point, and the Eagles win this game. But, it will be interesting to see how the Eagles respond having to play 4 quarters of football. That's also something I'm going to be watching closely. So that's my prediction, though.
Okay. In heart, the way I really like the defenses of both these teams and how they played in the playoffs. And personally, I wouldn't mind another, Patriots-Rams game, a 12-9 game or something of that nature. But I just, after the way the championships games went down, I have this feeling that the NFL is going to push the refs to just let the players play. And I feel like this could end up being one of those high-scoring games for a Super Bowl, and because both offenses have very talented, very big playmakers on their offense. So if they do allow them to play and not really do a lot of flagging for different things, this could be a very high scoring, very, very high scoring game. I like the Eagles in a very, very close game, though. Like I said, it should be a very high scoring game, but something like 38-35 is what I'm looking at personally. I do like that 3 points spread, though. But That's it. That's what we got for today here on Believe in Colts, going over the Super Bowl and a little bit of Indianapolis Colts news. I appreciate everybody who has watched this today or listen. Please don't forget, share this to your favorite social media, hit the like, the comment, whatever you need to do. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Jerraud Powers, Rodney McLeod. This was Believe in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. And as usual, go Colts.
Do you believe?